So we do have quite a few people who wanted to see this, the LG V60 versus the S25 Ultra. A lot of people are interested in making this upgrade here. And let's see, how it compares. So LG V60, much older phone. LG's not making phones anymore. So a lot of people are interested in upgrading here. As you guys can see, the V60's design, now picking this phone back up, it still looks really good. Very nice, classy looking design. Has that glossy finish here. And I think it still looks great here. The biggest difference you guys can see is the camera design, and then overall just the size of the cameras. The S25 Ultra just has massive cameras compared to the V60. You got that matte finish, and the S25 is made out of titanium as well. But the V60 is really built like a tank here. Now, hardware, you will be losing the SD card support on the V60, and you also will be losing the headphone jack with the quad DAC. Now, one hardware thing that you will be gaining here is the S Pen. Now, unfortunately, the S Pen does not have a Bluetooth functionality anymore, but it's still a really great tool for digital artwork, or if you're just somebody who wants to navigate. But the V60 also does have pen support as well too. But yeah, so you're not going to be gaining much as far as the hardware. And then also you will obviously not have the dual case support that the V60 has to basically be able to give it two screens, right, and make it a true multitasking device. The upgrade here is pretty decent here. So we do have a 6.9-inch display on the S25 Ultra. It is dynamic LTPO display. It is 120 Hz HDR10 Plus at 2600 nits, and it is a 1440p display at 498 for the PPI. The V60's display isn't too bad. Like I said, you do get that dual screen case support. It's a POLED HDR10 Plus, slightly smaller at 6.8 inches, and it just has much bigger bezels, and it does have the water drop notch, which is definitely a little bit outdated for sure. And it is 1080p 395 for the PPI. But overall, the actual display quality on the V60 is still really good. I think the thing that'll stand out here is mostly the, aesthetics of the display. It just having really slim bezels compared to the V60. And then also the 120 Hertz will probably pop out immediately. It's just an overall, smoother phone. And yeah, the display on the S25 Ultra is really good, guys. The max brightness also, if you're somebody who's outdoors a lot, you'll notice that as well too. It's a night and day difference. It's extremely easy to see the S25 Ultra. But yeah, so that's basically the display upgrade here. The V60 is really not as slow as a lot of people might think with it being such an older phone. It does have the Snapdragon 865 chipset in here. Like I said, we do have SD card support, and we do have on here 128 gigs of internal storage and 8 gigs of RAM. So this phone does do pretty well with multitasking, and its last major update was Android 13. Now on the S25 here, you will get the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor, 256 gigs on the base model and 12 gigs of RAM. And let's just do a quick little app test here just to see the difference here. Boom. Definitely a little bit of gap there for sure. Nothing too crazy. Instagram. Okay. Try YouTube. Alright. So again, nothing too crazy. Like the biggest thing you'll feel is like I said, the animation difference. Let's try. But even the 60 Hertz on the V60 is still pretty smooth. It's a very smooth 60 Hertz panel. Now, if you are more of a gamer, you will obviously get much better settings here. We could play at, of course, smooth extreme on the V60, but you can play at 120 frames. And yeah, it is a nice little upgrade for gamers across the board, really. If you're playing Genshin and Call of Duty or Fortnite or pretty much whatever, running emulators. So yeah, the V60 does still do a pretty good job, but when we bring up these benchmark scores, it'll kind of put everything in perspective here. So this is what you're working with. So you get 33 frames, 6.71. And you guys can see 5 to 8, 17 to 46. So yeah, so overall for like more of a gamer type of people, then you'll notice that difference. That'll be like a big upgrade for you. Check out these speakers at max volume. We'll start with the V60. V60 still sounds really good, very loud. Oh yeah, the S25 Ultra is way louder. It really comes in with the bass a lot louder because the V60 is really almost just as loud. Yeah, but the bass is just so much clearer and louder on the S25 Ultra for sure. There are some other little improvements here, like the fingerprint scanner on the S25 Ultra is an ultrasonic one, and the V60 is a optical one, so it doesn't feel as fast. So that's one thing you'll kind of notice. If you like the AI stuff that is here, you know, on these Galaxy devices, you got things like circle to search. You got like the more advanced kind of built-in Gemini on here as well, that you just hold the button and it pops up. And then you also do have your Galaxy AI features, which can do a lot of stuff like the live and translation, and then a writing assist and a bunch of other stuff. You can, you know, remove photos and stuff, remove people from photos, audio eraser. There's like a ton of AI stuff. But you know, yeah, so it just depends on if you're interested in that stuff. I think the camera comparison here is actually pretty interesting. So the V60 has a 64 megapixel standard and a 13 megapixel ultra wide. It also has a 0.3 depth sensor. It can shoot in 8K 30. You also have a 10 megapixel selfie that shoots in 4K 60. Now, with the S25 Ultra, you have a much beefier camera system. It's a 200 megapixel standard, a 10 megapixel telephoto, and that does do 3 times, with a 50 megapixel periscope telephoto that does do 5 times to give you the ability to go all the way up to 100 times zoom. And then you also have a 50 megapixel ultra wide. This can also shoot in 8K 24 and 30 with a 12 megapixel selfie that shoots in 4K 60. So one thing that the V60 has always done really well is actually battery life. This phone has very good battery life. Now, of course, I'm going to get better screen on time with the S25 Ultra, but man, the standby time on the V60 and just the screen on time has always been pretty good. I've never had like any type of battery concerns with this phone. And yeah, it's just something I've always noticed when I got the phone. So they both actually have 5,000 milliamp hour batteries, and you do have wireless and reverse wireless charging on the S25 Ultra as well. You do have wireless charging on the V60. But yeah, guys, that is pretty much it. Obviously, this is a solid comparison, but it really depends on what you're looking for, because you will be losing quite a bit of stuff, like the headphone jack, the dual screen case. You also will be losing SD card support. But with the S25 Ultra, you'll be gaining the, you know, better zoom. You also will get the 7 years of major OS updates. You also will get the better display, the better processor, and yeah, the AI stuff if you care about it. But if that stuff like doesn't really, if you don't really see the value in these upgrades here, I would say just hold on to your V60 for, you know, as long as you can until you feel like it's not, you know, really, you know, a phone that you want anymore. But if it's working for you, just keep it.